Shabbat Shalom. As I said, it's so good to be together. It just feels good, especially after all these weeks. And we're on our Parsha of Balak. And Balak comes with the story of the king. His name is Balak, and he hires a sorcerer. It feels very close to home in terms of what we live in today, but he hires a sorcerer to curse the Jewish people. And the sorcerer's name is Balaam. And we know, or maybe a good reminder is why I'm giving a little bit of an on one foot, is that Balaam goes to curse the people. I gave it away, and he blesses the people. And he says, Ma tovu, he says, how good are your tents, how beautiful. The people are so beautiful. The people of Israel is so beautiful that only blessings can come out of Balaam's mouth. And there's a lot of talk always in our commentary, but particularly also around Balaam. And is Balaam really that evil? Is he good? Is he evil? And there is a tradition that we have, and many rabbis who believe that Balaam really is pretty evil, even though he ends up giving the blessing, that there are certain things and pieces of the story that really will draw us to that. And there's a teaching in Pirkei Avot which gives us the character traits of Balaam in relationship to character traits of Avraham. So it says, Kol mi sheyesh beyado shlosha dvarim halalu. So whoever possesses these three things, mitalmidav shel Avraham Avinu. He's a student of, or he's really a follower of Avraham Avinu. Ushlosha dvarim achirim. These other three things, mitalmidav shel Bil'am harasha. So Bil'am being the sorcerer from this week's parasha. And what are those three things? For Avraham, it's an ayin tova, it's generosity or having a generous eye, viruach nimucha, to have a humble spirit, and a nefesh shefala, a modest soul. And I took the translation actually from the Pirkei Avot of Gordon Tucker and Rabbi Tamar Elad Applebaum, a beautiful rendition of and teaching of Pirkei Avot. And it says that these are the traits of Avraham. So we have the good eye, a generous eye, we have a humble spirit, and a modest soul. But on the other hand, we have the ayin ra'ah, which is a bad eye or a harsh eye. The ruach gevoha, somebody who has self-important spirit, somebody who thinks of themselves in only good ways. And then finally, the nefesh rechava, this nefesh, this soul of arrogance. And these are the ones who are like this, are disciplined, and they have the way of Bil'am. They have the way of this sorcerer. And so we get this dichotomy, which we love in our tradition. And the Sfat Emet is one of the Hasidic teachers, really a pillar of Hasidic thought. He also wrote a book called the Sfat Emet, The Language of Truth. And he takes this teaching, this Pirkei Avot teaching, which has more to it, but he says that it teaches us that on one hand, we have the righteous and the good, which is Avraham. And on the other side, we have the evil, we have the bad, which is, as we know, Bil'am in this case. And what he says about these two in relationship, and this is the way he sees the world going, is that what is the difference between the two? He says that the wicked are the ones who are only able to see bad. They're only able to see bad. They want to see bad, they want to bring bad into the world, and they focus on the bad. And he says the righteous are the ones who always see and look for the good. They're always seeking that thread of grace that is in our world. And then he goes on to say that no matter what, we are always going to find more goodness in the world than we will evil. This is the Sfat Emet. He says we're always going to find more good in the world than we are evil, especially if we're looking for it. And it's the wicked that want to just focus on that badness. But it's always going to be able, those who are righteous will find that good. And he uses a pasuk, and I think this is particularly eerie this week. He uses a pasuk, which is a line from Shir HaShirim, or a verse from Shir HaShirim, to prove this point that there's always going to be more good in the world than there is evil, which it feels simple, but it also feels really important to hear and to know that our tradition and our teachers say this. It says, Mayim rabim lo yuchlu lechabot et ha'ahava. Uneharot lo yishtifuha. Vast floods cannot quench love, nor rivers can drown it. The image, I think, from the Sfat Emet of what he's saying is that it feels sometimes like we're being flooded with badness, quite literally, but that love is always going to be there at the center. And it's eerie this week, particularly after another week of incredible heartache with unimaginable pain, as we know that there are over 120 lives that have been lost in Texas and another 150 of those who are still missing. And also just particularly, I feel like I've been incredibly distraught thinking about the children and the camp in particular, being someone who grew up at camp and reaching out to a lot of our members who are in Texas, and many of them saying that their children went to camp in that region. So we know that this is a week where it's easy to focus on the bad, and that's amidst much more badness that we see in the news all the time. Our hostages are still not home, and we're very aware of that. And while there are talks of it, we know that this war does not seem to be ending in Gaza. And of course, our country often feels big and ugly. And so it's really easy to see the bad. It's really easy and to fall into this mindset of a Bil'am, to be like the students of Bil'am who just want to see badness in the world. But we're not. And we're not people of Bil'am. We're the people of Avraham. And we have always been the people of Avraham, and we are people who seek goodness. And it's our job to look for it, for that goodness that exists in the world, to ignore, not to ignore the badness. I think we all can't ignore the badness. You can't do that. It's impossible. But to uncover that goodness and to be the people who have that ayin tovah, to have that eye of generosity and that spirit that wants to be a part of something so much bigger than we are, to find that beauty and that goodness and that song. And that's exactly what I think Shabbat always reminds us each week. Being here now, singing together, being anchored by community, coming into this moment of goodness, a taste of the goodness of what we know is possible. It's a reminder that there is still goodness, and it is our job to be the people who see it not only deep in ourselves, not only in the people around us, not only in the Jewish community, but really in all of the world. And may it be on this Shabbat Balak that we embody the traits of Abraham, that we embody this very goodness, and that we seek and uncover the goodness that our world is so desperately in need of. Shabbat Shalom.